With this, let's move forward. Now it's time for panel discussion number 2. The topic is AI ML powered DevOps, merging edge computing with multi-cloud strategies and legacy systems for reliability. The moderator for this session will be Mr. Ashish Sasidharan, Strategic Account Manager, DataDog. Sir, with due respect and some energy back into the room, can we invite them on the dais, please, everyone?
Thank you so much for that introduction there. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get this panel discussion started. So I'm just going to call out one by one, and please welcome them on the stage with a loud applause. To begin with, Ashish Gupta, Vice President, Head of Software, Barco. Do we need to do the exercise in the morning, the clapping exercise? I'm not sure how many of you are part of it, but I think we need to get that thing going. Hidesh Gupta, Head of Technology Engineering, Rupi. Please. Kamal Kishore Sharma, Head of AI Engineering and Solutions at Tata Digital. Ashwani Rajput, VP Front-End Software Engineering. Synchrony, sorry, I missed out mentioning Synchrony. Thanks. Shobit Agrawal, Director, AI ML Data Engineering, MasterCard. And Ankur Garg, Senior Director, DevSecOps and Infra from Bold. I think we have established as to what this roundtable is going to be all about. And I'll try my best to ensure that I'm cognizant about the questions that I ask, which are in line with the objective of this roundtable. Now, let's just get started. Are we ready? Yes? How about you guys? It was a lunch heavy. Like, why does it happen that my session starts after breakfast and then after lunch? Everyone is just getting into the groove. No, there's no lunch yet? Oh, sorry, my bad. Apologies for that. Then I think I am in between you and the lunch, so let's just get going now. Okay, I think I want to start the first question, and first question, Kamal, that's for you. How are AI ML models currently being leveraged in real-time DevSecOps environment?
I mean, before I answer that question, I'd like to take a step back, right? So why do we even need an, real-time DevOps or observability? The first thing that it solved is it brings certainty to the events that we don't know, right? So, and it has evolved. The first thing that got solved was through the tooling. Companies started building the right tooling. Then, as the systems grew, as the companies grew, they started realizing that, it's really humanly not possible to comprehend everything, to understand what's going on. And from there, MLOps.
Get the mic a little up.
So from there, the MLOps started getting into the picture. The first phase of it was using ML model to understand what's going into the logs, doing predictive maintenance, understand how the things are moving. So even that started giving a lot of impact or business benefit to the companies. Then from there, the next evolution happens with the deep learning, where the models become much more powerful. The integration with the DevOps become much more simpler. And with this, the companies were started, understanding at what time my system is going to fail, and what I need to do to scale it now. So that was the second evolution. And now the third is with the agentic and AI coming in. It has become more of a react and act. First is understand, the second is observe, the third is predict. Now we are in the phase of react and act, where we even here at Tata Digital or even in different companies, we are building the AI agents that are monitoring different AI infrastructure, understanding how the systems are working, and then AI agents are reacting on different behaviors.
Thank you for that, Kamal. Ankur, in fact, I want to ask the same question to you, get your perspective about the same thing in terms of how, today AI ML models are being leveraged in the DevSecOps environment.
Sure, thanks Ashish. So basically what I've seen, like how is it helping us, we are using like Copilot. So earlier a developer or I would say DevOps engineer used to write the infrastructure provisioning or DevOps CI/CD pipelines, for example, Jenkins pipelines. They have to script it, test it on a Jenkins POC or a test jobs. It takes a lot of energy, right? Effort, energy, and time was required. Now with the click of a button, we ask the prompt and it writes the scripts for us. We use different models, Cloudphobia, GPT-4 mini, multiple models are available. We are even going to the enterprise Copilot these days. We were trying business earlier, but this is really coming handy in terms of giving the productivity boost. It's faster if a issue has occurred in the overnight, some build is broken. So you can give the error messages and then it gives you what is required changes in the pipeline. But the basically challenge what is coming in ki we are becoming solely reliable or too dependent, I would say, on these things. The challenge is that we are losing the expertise gradually and we don't know how much ethically is it giving the right scripting. Is it malicious code is coming in? Because those kind of things, we are still vulnerable now. That's the challenge I foresee in terms of losing the expertise, vulnerability, and it could be biased. So those things we have to be more cognizant, and we are still, I would say, trying to mature on this.
You meant to say from the AI implementation piece of it, these are the challenges that you're seeing?
Yeah, vulnerability in AI scripts basically.
Got it.
Are they doing a right, because earlier developer was doing that, he was doing a lot of R&D himself writing it. But now when something comes ready to handy, you can just copy and paste or it comes automatically from the pilot.
Yeah.
We may not be doing all the code, all the lines. So there's a lot of focus needs to be there.
Yeah.
So that is something we have to also see security in AI. How is that going to embed in the future?
No, fair. I think it's interesting to hear different perspectives on the entire AI piece of it itself, coming from both you and Kamal. So interesting, and thank you for that. Let's move on to the next question. And Shobhit, this is probably for you. I think this is where we'll need your help. What are the technical challenges in integrating an AI ML into a legacy infrastructure? I think that's a legacy infrastructure these days could be just 6 months old as well. But I think, what are the challenges that you are seeing being at MasterCard in terms of the things?
Thanks for putting up this question, and I would like to thank DevOps and Gain Skills for organizing this conference, and I'm being glad to be the part of this panel. Just a quick introduction, I'm being Shobhit Agarwal, working with the MasterCard, heading AI ML data engineering verticals for all the AI-based models, so along with the platform part. So to answer that question, right, it's a real-time problem, and I think every organization is facing these issues, right? Because we have a legacy infrastructure, and now with the change of era with an AI world, that mindset needs to be changed as well as the infrastructure as well. Having said that, so the main challenge what we are facing, and that's my real-time problem I was facing, it's first is the data silos, right? Because earlier, mostly processes are in a batch mode, okay? And datas are being saved into the very different formats. They are not at structured data. They are being scattered around multiple databases, yeah, right? Even the permissions, and sometimes it's happened like we don't know who was owning those data. Yeah. This is the real-time problem I'm telling you here. Yeah. So first is like, and we know data is a bread and butter for any of AI DevOps thing. True. Without data, we can't move for the next step. So the impact is like we have to do the lot of re-engineering into the workflow to get this data into the format which AI ML models needs in today's world. Secondly, the model deployment and their monitoring. It's a second challenge. Because we don't have that much of infrastructure. We have been working into the Oracle databases. We are working onto the Hadoop big data space where they are more aligned towards a batch. And I think someone has touched upon on the agentic AI, right? These are the real-time problems. We don't have that infrastructure to support such use cases. And this is not with me. Many of the organizations have facing the same issues because they don't uphold that infrastructure. They need the GPU for the processing. Yeah. And we know, like, still we are being struggling to get the right GPUs, right infrastructure, right? Secondly, as the conference name itself says DevOps, right? So in future, I'm expecting it to be MLOps. Machine learning operations. We have many tools coming into the market, but the point is the in-house due to the security constraints, team or the organizations has to look into that tooling part, how we can do the ML model monitoring and the drift reporting.
Interesting. And you basically gave them the next in terms of what the conference headline needs to be. Yes,
That's a change of mindset.
Yeah,
We
no,
have
absolutely.
to, everyone has to go into that part.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
last but not the least, I would say we have a shortage of compute storage and the compute. That's a legacy infrastructure what we are dealing with. Yep, sorry.
Just want to add, AI ops is here already, right? So DevOps, ML ops, and now we are living in the era of AI ops. I mean, we'll talk about it later, I think.
Ashish, sir, I want to actually bounce this question off from you as well, right? In terms of what are the challenges that you're facing from integrating an AI ML platform, especially if you have a legacy architecture? So, yeah.
Yeah, so it's. Hello?
Yeah.
Audible? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm Ashish, and thanks for the invite here. It's a great conference. Looking forward towards this. But your question related to the technical challenges, I think many of the organizations do face this, and I would just say that it's all very contextual. In which stage your organization is, what legacy infrastructure you are carrying. The other thing is that in what area or domain you want to integrate AI, because many times it's an enterprise context where you have a IT-related stuff which is very old legacy SAP systems or whatever, you want to introduce some certain AI workflows in that, or it is a product context. So context is extremely important, and based on that, the challenges faced are very different, I would say. But as Shobit, you rightly said, data is a primary thing. Data remains in silos in many of these large organizations, and for example, in Barco also, it has been the company itself. I don't know how many of you know Barco. Barco is a 90 years old organization, Belgium headquartered, and we have been into technology space for almost close to 90 years. We have just a twist towards what the question is, that we are into, globally we are powering 70% of the cinema halls. And the projector technology is Barco, and that's what Barco is famous for. So if you walk in any cinema hall, 70% chance is that it's Barco technology which is powering it. So the challenge for us, for example, it's huge, and bringing in there is a lot of legacy in terms of IT systems. There's a lot of legacy in terms of even the technology which we have on edge, and all of these devices which we have, Barco devices, either the projectors or the large video walls, they're all connected to cloud. Now the challenge remains that how the data has to be brought in, how the data remains in silos, and then the second biggest challenge is the integration challenge, because you have a lot of legacy IT systems, how you integrate this. And then comes the role of the integration platforms which have really come up, like MuleSoft or anything like that, with the API first approach. You have to modernize that. Third biggest challenge which I personally see, and that is very important, is even with the legacy, how sane was the dev side of the story in ops. So we have a lot of things which you can bring in related to AI, but if the dev architecture itself or the system architecture itself is not great, or it's not following the API first architecture, or it is not following all the security parlance, then of course the AI may not be able to that much helpful, right, in that sense. So lot of things, just to summarize, lot of things depends on the context, in which context you are working, whether it is large IT systems where you want to bring in the IT ops or the AI into those things, or second is that how, from the product perspective, whether it's a cloud service which is fully deployed there you want to bring in, then the challenges could be very different altogether. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you so much. I think two different organizations having a very unique, different approach, as well as also acknowledging the fact that the structure of the data, the structure of the logs become very, very critical for you to have a very successful deployment of an AI. Hridesh Bhai, coming to you, right? How can AI-driven observability enhance reliability across your hybrid and multi-cloud environment? I think today everyone is doing either a hybrid or multi-cloud environment, so it's a unique challenge of its own. So just curious to hear from you.
Thank you so much. So thank you so much, and I'm very proud and honored to attend this session as of now. And basically myself is Hirdesh Gupta, and I'm working as a senior associate director in the RUPI. So RUPI is a fintech organization in this industry. So I think last 10 years back, this venture has been started by the Ginarsoft organization. And so I'll just come on the point. The question which is asked by the Ashish. So basically the observability of, see, in terms of the AI, because I think 2 decades earlier, uh, most of the organizations based on the on-premises, and sometime, and after some period of time, now the organization try to move into the dedicated host. And now after certain point of time, the organization just moved on the cloud. And as of now, the most of the companies are uh, put some data in, I think, on premises, and sometimes they just put the databases and all for the security purpose. Now they want to save on the on-premises or dedicated host, but on the for public-facing interfaces, APIs and all, or applications, now the guys choose a AWS cloud and any cloud. So basically, the first of all, we have to understand what we require for the observability. First of all, we require a unified views across the silos. And the second point is, after we have to identify the problems across the infra, either at their on-premises, on hybrid, or multi-cloud. And then we have to identify, we have to analyze after the anomalies, and then we can move to identify the root causes of the problems. Where is the problem? Actually, the problem is start from the public interfacing, and then we just reach to the your private or on a dedicated service. Like suppose your database is spike. So first of all, we have to understand what is the root cause of it. When we identify the root causes, then we can move for the solutions. Right, so basically the lots of tools are available in the market as well, right? Either in terms of free or the paid, right? So we can also identify, we can use, by using that tools, we can identify where is the problem. Like if your cloud is on the AWS, then we can also use like AWS Guru, right? There's a popular tool where we can use that one, right? And I think after we have to detect the problem, then we can try to find the solution. So basically in this technology, we can also predict what is the problem and then to solve that automatically. And we have to give the alerts in very intelligent manner. So respective team can work on that and to resolve the issue within a minimum entity. So basically, this is the main steps we have to adopt for the trying to observability of the issues and all. Thank you so much, Ashish. Thank you.
Thank you. I think a very interesting take. And probably we should get you into the DataDog sales team as well. You kind of just helped me over there. And Ankur Bhai, the same question to you in terms of the AI-driven observability, in terms of how it enhances reliability across your entire hybrid as well as your multi-cloud environment.
So basically, the good thing is that it can bring, as our friend was mentioning, it will bring unification. We can have Azure, we can have Google, multiple clouds, some on-prem, right? Even Oracle, multiple cloud vendors, hyperscalers are there in today's world. So it brings unification. If you want to put an alert, it will be, I can rely on AI that it will generate the alerts because metrics names might be different, the metadata might be different, but it will help in generating that kind of alerting mechanism or alerting metadata. And it's really beautiful that, okay, we can get a unification, we can put standards across, okay, this is our threshold, so those thresholds can be mapped in different places if we are trying to create a dashboard around it. So those things are really handy. Now the challenge basically comes, can we really rely, how reliable is AI? Is there a AI ethics still in place? Is it doing the right thing? How can we measure that? Because whatever we do, we try to measure us. We measure our performance, we measure our productivity, we measure our cloud operational efficiency. We try to measure everything so that we can put a benchmark and try to move up, work on them. So basically it's around how can we give feedback to AI now? If we are using AI, so there must be a way to give a feedback and then someone really getting the edge of it. Basically, we need to build a skill set on that. We cannot be just the end users. We need to take a deep dive, which model to use, when the model needs to be upgraded to a latest version. So all those things, it is the whole ecosystem we're trying to think of. So that is something, we need to be cautious of. Otherwise, we don't know where we may land. Should not become robots. Just AI is driving us.
No, fair. I think there's always two approaches, right? And you're looking at a very cautious approach in terms of how you want to adopt an AI model within your ecosystem, and that's completely
And
understandable.
basically, if I see like some few recent examples, I mean, like if I go to some previous question like legacy, so we have a lot of fintechs in the systems, right? A lot of banking where compliances are there. So if we are doing a unification, then those things need to be really coming handy, that how we are ensuring that we are moving gradually, and our compliance, be it IRDA for insurance or be it RBI, so we are getting onboarded with them in terms of multi-scaler, hyperscalers, as well as the compliances, as well as our auditors needs to be handy and like getting a comfort level, how we are moving ahead with different hyperscalers. You're just relying on, earlier they used to, okay, queue you, what are your different questions for your things, but here like it's AI is giving the response. So that is something.
No, of course, of course. And thank you for that. Very interesting take. Ashwani, I'm sorry I'm coming to you last over here, but I'll keep this question just for you. What strategies work best for unifying DevOps pipeline across edge and cloud platforms?
All right. First of all, thanks to all of you and Ashish to brought up this question. And I'm feeling proud to be the part of this panel. So if I talk about it, so it is in the word of streamlined process, I would say. If the streamlined process is not there, so we cannot, support on the both. So these processes are defined into some steps. I would suggest like what kind of strategies we can follow it up. So when we are talking about the this AI and ML related to this DevOps, so the processes are defined into the steps that I would like to suggest here. Like first is infrastructure as code, right? So that should be in place. Like we can use Terraform and Ansible scripts, right? Should be run exactly same on the all platform, whatever the platform we are using. Or the cloud we are using, maybe it could be Azure or it could be AWS. So it should be run, exact on the same. Now, if you are running, infrastructure as code there, so you must have, I would say, health checks of the logs. Logs should be placed into a centralized dashboard so that whenever you are running anything, so what is going to happen, so you can predict it, right? You can analyze it, and then you can take an informed decision. Hey, this is a problem. This is the thing we have to fix it. So you can place the AI and ML. With the help of that, you can fix it automatically, right? So you just need to give us steps in the scripts, and it will run automatically, and it's get done. So that's why it's really important. And like whenever we are putting all the checks and monitoring tool in place, then I would see like it is taking one step ahead in the game. Like, okay, if this issue persists still, so how we can fix it? We need not require anyone, to come up and sit around the table and discuss about it. Automatically AI and ML, if it is going into the script, so it will get it fixed automatically. Yeah.
Great. Interesting. Thank you so much. Ashish sir, coming to you, right? How do you manage the data gravity and latency challenges that comes with the edge deployment? How do you go about these things?
Yeah, it's extremely relevant question. Thanks for putting this up. And it's very challenging overall. If you see from the infrastructure which we have, or the kind of landscape which we are operating into at Barco, as I said, that we have a lot of devices and a lot of devices which are cloud connected and a lot of devices which are purely on the edge and they're not even connected. Yeah. And that's the challenge is that if you want to bring in the AI kind of things, or AI use cases or your AI workflows, which are very much dependent that you have to do the inferencing there itself. For example, just to take one example, we have large presence in control rooms. So airports and all that, the large control rooms and the large video walls which you see on these control rooms, there's video streaming which happens. Yeah. And these control rooms, because of the security reasons, are not even connected to cloud even sometimes. And we still have to give the controller, the operators of the room, to put in some AI use cases, for example, object detection, what is happening somewhere in airport, and that kind of stuff. And that brings in another challenge of this data gravity and data latency kind of things, because directly the edge is not connected. Of course, you cannot do that. So the feedback loop towards the model which needs to be trained somewhere, either you put it on the edge itself and do the training, or if you have to send it to cloud, then it has to be through a separate device with some local storage there. So bringing in, another example which I could take is even sometimes we are in process to implement RAG, for example, on-premise. And of course, you cannot have the full RAG solution on-premise without any big connectivity towards cloud. So the main challenge which remains is whether the edge itself is sufficient enough to do the inferencing there itself on the edge, or second challenge is that how to put the feedback loop right? How to train the model and get the things right. So again, no solution is the right solution. It's all contextual, what works, what doesn't work. In control rooms, we are coming up with different set of solutions. For RAG, we are coming up with different set of solutions, primarily, but it boils down to using the right models, the 10 models which we have. Things which are on cloud could be very different than things which are on-premise, which are there. So 10 models is there, and then we have to also see what kind of hardware which we have. And we were talking about previously about the legacy systems. Sometimes the hardware itself is not capable enough to do the inferencing, so we have to go for an upgrade for the hardware itself. So there are too many solutions which are available, but all you have to see is that what can work for you for the kind of use cases which you have, and what can be improvised without creating a lot of what I say, everything eventually is a cost, right? So you cannot suggest that, yeah, get this hardware available in each control room. Customer is not going to pay for all that kind of stuff. So you have to find the best model which can work on-prem, best model which can be trained in cloud, and have some hybrid kind of solutions also. So, but it's a struggle. It's a right question, and it's a struggle, and there is no right solution, of course. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Ashish sir. Shobhit, same question to you. I think you two are very different organizations, and just curious to even get your perspective here as well.
So I think he's rightly said he's looking on the visualizations way as his organization. So my area is on the backend side, right? As soon as you swipe the transactions, a lot of AI models has to put the scores, fraud scores into the game of milliseconds, right? So as he said very rightly, so we have to upgrade our databases. I have to talk about from the data standpoint. It's like we have to, what he said is like detecting the objects, visualization. So our work behind the scene is like to detect the data patterns, what is happening, what is being more relevant to the fraudster, right? So having said that, so the more technology, more databases which we are aligned with, are more aligned with the AI ML use cases like the graph technologies or the graph databases. As soon as you insert the data, you will have the graph created, and you can see and figure out the patterns out of it, and it will help you to design the algorithm and put a models deployed. Secondly, the real-time databases, right? Vector databases, Redis, which can help to reduce the latency, and these are more towards a real-time inferencing. As soon as you put the data, you have the use case being defined, the models being deployed, and inferences can be pulled it out from the sort of a real-time velocity in terms of the AI/ML workload. So I keep it short, but it's like we have to upgrade the infrastructure as well as the databases to cater the latest use cases to reduce the data latencies.
Interesting. Thank you so much for that. Hridesh bhai, I'm coming to you now. How do you model your, how do you approach your, from a model governance and lifecycle management in a DevSecOps context?
Yeah. So first of all, we have to understand what is the governance. So first of all, as per my view, first of all, we have to identify or we have to set up the framework, governance frameworks. So basically, the lots of things comes under this framework. Like first of all, we have to start with the, just to create a policies and roles and responsibilities of the of that and the models. So first of all, we have to, and audit and compliance is also a part of the governance framework as well. So basically, first of all, try to understand what kind of model we are trying to build, and how can we, train that model. So for that, you have to first set up the frameworks, and then you can also set up the CI/CD pipelines to complete that one. And you have to set up the code versioning. So code versioning for all, in terms of the versioning of the code, versioning of the data, versioning of the models, right? So basically, there's a multiple tools is also comes in the market, like Mixaser. So you can also use that one. And then after that, you can try to set up a particular modules and just try to build a module. And then we can need to save that models into the any repositories. So we have to just put your codes into the repository, and then we can decide how to be trained that one. So this is also a part of the frameworks, right? And then we can also when the model is trained and when you try to deploy that model on the production. So first of all, we have to very before going to deploy the model on the production, we have to test at our non-pod environments like staging and all, and QA environment. And when the QA will give you the go-ahead, then we can produce or deploy that model over the production. When we deploy the production, then we have to identify where is the problem. If someone has suppose before the raising the issues from the customer, we have to to identify the issues. So, and then after that, we can try to just decommission the models if it is possible. So thank you so much.
No worries. Kamal sir, the same question to you.
Thanks. That's an interesting take on the governance part. For us, in my current company, previous company, Tata Digital, the problem is we are dealing with the scale in 100 million of customers, right? Which means running thousands of models, making sure you are doing continuous experiments. Unlike the typical tech work, the model development is very experimental, right? So which means you have to continuously log, how your models are being built, what are the weights you have used, what are the data that you have used for the experiment, and what are the artifacts that's coming in. Which means the dimension of the problem increases. In the tech world, you are dealing with the tech, or you're dealing with the output of the code. Here you're dealing with the data, model, and the code, three things together. Which means you have to basically make sure all three things are being automated and versioned properly. And these problems, so basically building the framework that he was earlier saying, that's very, very important. The framework should make sure that all three things are being managed. The second thing, when you start seeing beyond this, especially in terms of the AI and ML, so AI ops, so it becomes a bit more complex, where you also have to basically start managing your prompts. You also have to start managing your embeddings that are being used to train agents. And the third, or the LLM models. And the third becomes in the AI ops that I was talking earlier, is when you're building your orchestration. So AI orchestration, you have to basically now start managing your agent's behavior, guardrails, and the overall things. So that's, yeah.
In the interest of time, and I'm sorry that I'm giving you all a little science time, I do have a few questions, which, and the request is if you can, give quick ones on that, so we are not holding everyone back over here for more. Ashwani sir, question to you. What's your take on intelligent automation versus traditional automation in operational reliability?
All right, so my takeaway on this would be traditional, as we all are aware, like it is having some predictable steps, fixed steps that we are going to run on. So that is all about the traditional, I would say, and intelligent means you are leveraging AI, ML into the system, right? So that will predict the root cause and try to fix it. So that's a main difference. But Right now we cannot like we are into the AI and ML era, but we cannot put everything like why the AI ML, right? So traditional we have to follow, but wheresoever we can try to leverage AI, we can, like you can, you know, when you are leveraging the AI and ML into the system along with the traditional approach, so that would be, I would say, a good approach to make it overall in a win-win situation.
Great. Thank you. Ankur Bhai, question to you. How does AI influence incident prediction, root cause analysis, and resolution speed? Pretty interesting one, yeah.
Basically, if you talk about this incident management, so AI basically the speed which it comes in, like if you are using machine learning algorithm there, it can digest millions of data in a go. That is the beauty basically. And it can help in prediction though what kind of issues are coming in, if the similar issue has come in the past. For example, the tools right now, I've seen like DataDog, Neuralink, they're becoming more smarter. They can predict faster, and in our cases, like where we create our CVs for our customers, cover letters, mainly when our customers are sleeping, we apply the jobs on behalf of them. So there basically, it comes really handy that, okay, analyze the issues, predict it, and the self-healing part. That is a bit tricky. Can we rely on the, again, I mean, on the AI for self-healing? So that is still a maturity curve is there, but it can detect very fast. I mean, RCS can be analyzed, and RCS can be, analysis can be done, responses, suggestions can be given out. That is, even if the issue happens, by the time your engineer logs in, a lot of analysis will be coming handy. So that is basically a groundwork is done instead of someone jumping in. And then I remember like nights in Paytm, we used to have an issues and we used to jump in. What we did at, if issue comes at 1 p.m., 1 a.m. in the night, what we did at 1 hour, 5 seconds, 1 hour, 10 seconds, every second we used to put a sequencing so that we can give best API latency, best API resolutions. So there it's really handy in today's world.
I agree. As long as Bold is applying jobs for me automatically, I'm happy with that as well.
Yeah, but that is our basically key USP.
You should highlight that more. Ashish sir, quick question to you. What metrics or KPI should an organization track to measure the impact of AI and DevOps? I think very interesting question. So
Yeah,
could you just highlight on that?
Yes, definitely interesting. What I would suggest is that, see, AI is a big investment overall. So definitely you should measure, and the businesses should be asking for that. What is the end result? So eventually, if I think that there can be 3 categories of metrics which you, the number one is the business outcome, right? That is very important. What's the return on investment? What efficiency we have really gained and all that. But that is more of a ROE and ROI and that kind of stuff. Second is which is more of technology kind of metrics which are related to AI, how the model is performing and what good the model is, how much the API for the AI, whatever you're doing on cloud and all that, those kind of things, what is the kind of investment which is going into that. But the most important for DevOps, which probably many of us in the DevOps domain, they are doing it, the DORA metrics are extremely critical. And if the organizations have not started even before getting to AI, it's important, it's high time that do take the DORA metrics into your main domain. The DORA is DevOps Research Assessment Framework, which is providing typically the 4 metrics which are there, deployment frequency, the change fail rate, MTTR, mean time to failure, and those kind of stuff. So if you're bringing the AI into your DevOps domain, then obviously these metrics which for pre-AI and after AI should change, and should change for good. For example, the change fail rate, which is time from the code check-in to the deployment to the production, right? It should get better if you have improved your test cases automation and relevant test cases execution as part of your CI/CD pipelines. Similarly, the deployment frequency should also be improved overall if you're bringing the whole AI. So my suggestion to all is that, of course, start measuring, you utilize the DevOps, the DORA metrics. And second thing is that keep a watchful eye on the kind of investments which are going right into AI, which is extremely critical, because in the end we have seen when the cloud transformation was happening, people who were not measuring really the cloud cost really burned their hole and they moved from on-premise to cloud. It should not happen bringing in AI, and AI is not cheap, right? AI is not cheap overall, so you have to really see it. Fourth, which I could suggest is that, of course, all the platforms, the DataDog and Neuralink, they also provide a lot of metrics, so keep a watchful eye on the metrics which they provide. from their aspects of the things. But from the organization perspective, the three things which are critical overall, that's what I can suggest. Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Ashish, sir, for that. I have two more questions. Kamal, the first one is to you. Shobit, the second one will be to you. Kamal, sir, what tools or platforms have proven most effective in orchestrating AI across distributed systems?
We are enough.
I know we are, but...
So we ran out of time, so I'll be very quick. Build a composable architecture, first of all. Have frameworks like Qflow, MLflow to orchestrate your model workflows. And then think about how you're going to, basically do the learning frameworks. So NVIDIA has got a very good stack to manage your learning frameworks. And third is, maybe, I'm not sure if there's a right tool to govern your agentic behavior, so maybe build a governance layer around your agentic architecture. So these are three key things. And of course, there are multiple tools around it.
Perfect. Great. Thank you so much for that crisp, precise one. Shobit, how do you ensure security and compliance while introducing AI into edge and multi-cloud workflows?
So I think security question is the last one, but it's the most important for AI ML work. And even the organizations are they are picking up the last, and they are facing the consequences for it. So having said that, first and the utmost important we have to follow is the zero trust architecture designs. Yeah. Right? No two distributed system can't talk to each other until their tech asset or that their design has been allowed to do so. And as a result, the next era for AI will be the network as a services, right? No two system, A and B, can be able to talk unless they have IPs binded for each one of them. Secondly, I think we talk about the model drift. Like we are the smart engineers, but the fraudster are more smarter than us, right? So that's a reason we have to keep an eye on the model drift, whether it's following the pattern or not. Otherwise, what will happen? We keep on saying, okay, the fraud is happening, but it will not be the fraud. It's being a genuine transaction which is getting into the drifted way. And third, like data encryption. I would say it's not the last, but data encryption at rest, as well as data in transit, has to be encrypted. That's a key area for any of those AI ML models to get secure for DevOps, for MLOps, or for the AI ML workspace.
Great. Thank you so much for that. With that, I think we come to an end of this panel discussion. If I have to summarize, I think we all today see the importance of an AI ML, but that also means there is a journey that we have to trend towards. Through the course of this discussion, we have realized as to what are those hurdles, what are those challenges, both from an implementation perspective and also from a security perspective. I think it's a phase that we'll all go through, and thank you so much for sharing your insights and inputs through the course of this panel discussion. And thank you all for listening into this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I request our moderator, please present a memento for all the panel members we have with us today. We are starting with Mr. Ashish Gupta.